Hi, Tim. Welcome. Good morning, Emily.
Morning.
Hey,
How are you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Good. Good. Am I? I'm first. Oh, there's one. Oh, more people. Good.
Good morning, Tim. Hey, John. Good to see you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Ah, well, we're waiting. Maybe might get a few more folks. I'm going to do some deep breathing just while we're waiting for the next minute or two. Give it a few more minutes. I thought one other person had told me they were definitely going to be here, so we'll see. Before we begin, has everybody gotten the draft of the first 30 or 40 pages of this book, The Path of Inner Radiance? Has everyone gotten the links? Let me resubmit that. I'll put it in the chat. Wow, I didn't know that.
What part of Arizona are you in?
I live in a suburb of Phoenix, in the East Valley called Gilbert.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there was a hurricane in Mexico that was coming up, so we were expected to get rain for like 5 days, and it came down so hard last night. And our patio was flooding, the streets were flooding, the green belts behind our house were flooding, my pool's over almost overfilling.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just been a long, interesting evening.
Is it still considered the rainy season, or is that past? I know that's like August.
Yeah, we get monsoons in like August, but I think this is just kind of, just something that came up from Mexico, um, which seems completely past monsoon season and just dumped a ton of rain, which we need. But my sister-in-law, her roof is
Hmm.
leaking. My other sister, she's got a roof leak now. So yeah, I've been texting people to see if roofing friends. It's been an interesting morning and night. So, oh well.
Hmm.
Time to meditate.
Hmm.
Take your mind off for a bit.
Yeah, center.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I was watching the game last night. Um, BYU was at Arizona. Where's the University of Arizona?
Tucson.
Different. Okay. And
Yeah, down
that's
south.
north, right?
Down south.
That's south of Phoenix.
Yeah, U of A.
Yeah,
Close.
it wasn't raining there.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it just. I took video because it just was coming like a hurricane. It
Huh.
was crazy. My my dog was afraid to go outside, and it was interesting. But let me check. You said that in the chat you put the
Yeah, there's one, there's a resource. There are two, we're, well, let's just go ahead and get started. We're here to dig deeper into an ancient Taoist text called The Secret of the Golden Flower. In the chat, there are two main translations of this Chinese book. The book was written in 825 AD by a Taoist master by the name of Lu Dongbin. Not just any old Taoist master, but the leader of the eight immortals of Chinese legacy, the highest Taoist master. And he, in this book, is speaking to his students and sharing his own personal meditation to activate his light body. And there are two main English translations. The first English translation I gave you a link to was translated by a German scholar who spent about 25 years in China. And at the end of his time there, he was given a copy of this book, The Secret of the Golden Flower, and he translated it into German. 3 years later, in 1929, that German translation was translated into English. That's the link that I gave you there. That's called the Wilhelm translation. There's another translation that was done in 1991. I'm going to put that one in the chat as well. That's called the Cleary translation. Uh-huh. That's not good. There we go. Copy and paste. So there are two English translations separated by about 60 or 70 years. The Wilhelm translation is the original translation from 1926. Then in 1991, a guy named Cleary said, "Oh, this guy got the translation all wrong. I'm going to do a better job." And so he did his own job, and there's criticisms of both translations. But I used both translations in studying the book, The Secret of the Golden Flower, and I also am writing a book called The Path of Inner Radiance, which is not a translation of The Secret of the Golden Flower because I don't speak Chinese. I'm working with both English translations, but it's more of an interpretation to make these meditations more accessible to people who speak English and more accessible to people in the modern world. There's a lot of I don't want to spend too much time because we already did in the last two sessions talking about the trouble or the challenge with these translations from Chinese into English. But we have good, the translations are good enough. And so to recap what we've covered so far, This is an ancient book. It was written, not ancient, but it was written in 825 AD. The author Lu Dongbing claims that this knowledge comes from, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of years before that from the ancient ones. And he talks a little bit about that in his book. But it talks about the first three main steps. So the goal of The Secret of the Golden Flower is to learn how to circulate or wake up or activate the light consciousness that's within us. And the way that you wake it up is three steps. Number one, reversing the light. And this is something that we've talked about in almost every meditation that we've done together over the last couple of months. We talk about, even with your eyes closed, you see your consciousness, your awareness, your projection, your light is projecting outward. Taoism is really, really big on preserving your internal energy. So the first step is to feel this light projecting outward and to learn how to reverse that light into your own being. And that's step one, is reversing the light, reversing your attention, your focus, your awareness from always projecting outward to preserving it and projecting the light inside your own being. This is called inner sight. And that's the first step of this secret. The second step, which we've talked about in earlier sessions, we're just catching up here. The second step is, once you have the light turn inward, the second step is to circulate the light. Now, in the book, he doesn't give a lot of specific instructions. There are some images that go along with this book, but what we've done is create our own meditation where we imagine a ball of light in our root chakra, and with each inhale, we rise that ball of light through our central channel, massaging, tickling, activating each of the chakras as it goes through the central channel, rising it to about 12 or 15 inches above your head to the eighth chakra, which is called your light chakra, holding it there for a breath or two, and then allowing that light to descend back down through the central channel, again, bathing each chakra in energy and light, circulating the chakras, massaging them, tickling them, energizing them. And in this, that full breath is now a circulation. And then when you breathe in again, you circulate the light again through the central channel and allowing it to descend on the exhale. Let's just do that a few times. We'll do that 9 times. We'll take 9 circulating breaths. Reverse the light, your awareness inside your being. Once the awareness is inside your being, let your attention go deeper and deeper and deeper on the inside. Imagine a ball of light circulating in your root chakra. And on your next breath, rise that light as you inhale all the way through your central channel. Hold it for a heartbeat or two at the top, and then let it descend. Now I'm going to take 9 breaths, nice and slow. And as you're breathing in and out, as you're rising and falling this light through the central channel, know that over time, you're reconditioning your energetic system, your energy body, your emotional body. You're reconditioning your body to be more relaxed and allowing the light, the energy to flow through the central channel, waking up each of the chakras, activating them, massaging them, tickling them, waking them up so they start to perform more healthy, and that slowly over time you're conditioning your energetic body to flow more easily and more freely. So once the energy is flowing through the central channel, that from the central channel is where all your other energy channels come from that go throughout your body. So if there are any obstructions in the central channel, or any of the chakras are not flowing or energized or activated, that creates obstructions in your energy system. And that blocks the energy from flowing to other parts of your body. So what we're doing is just reconditioning this central channel. This is something you're going to do every day, every morning, every night. Recondition this energy flow by imagining a ball of light in the root chakra. As you inhale, it rises gently through all of the chakras. And then allow that light to go back down through the crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus chakra, the sacral chakra, back down to the root chakra. And just play with that light. So we've done the first two steps of this method. The first is to reverse the light, to get in the habit of reversing your awareness. You're projecting outward with your eyes, with your mind, everything's projecting outward. We want to reverse the light to back inside our being. That's step one. That's called the backward flowing of the light. In the book, he refers to this as the backward flowing of the light, reverse the light. And then the second is circulating the light. Up and down the central channel, just circulating the light. And just relaxing the whole energetic system, massaging the chakras, activating them, tickling them, making sure that each one is free and flowing. Because every energy channel throughout your body, Tibetan Buddhism, you have 72,000 energy channels. If you work with a Vedic yogi, you have 350,000 energy channels. They all stem and begin from these 7 central chakras that you're now massaging and activating. So by doing this, circulating the light like this through the central channel, you're literally activating, waking up, reconditioning your entire energetic body. And step 3 in this practice of the golden flower is what we also talked about last week, which is during the day, returning to the light. So he specifically says, don't stop doing what you're doing. Keep your jobs, keep, all the activities of society, but throughout the day, learn how to return to this inner sight, even with your eyes open, even in the midst of all these different conditions that are happening. Now, we call this, those of you who've been working over the last few weeks, we call this disengage and linger. Let's do this right now. It should be in a nice, soft, relaxed feeling. Back muscles should be soft. Shoulders, head shouldn't be drooping forward. Make sure they're up. And just with your eyes open, just see that you're projecting outward. Your consciousness, your awareness, your light is projecting outward. Just return to the light. Just return to the light. We call this disengage and linger. Just let go of all the stories, all the roles you play, all the things you think you're supposed to be doing, and just see how everything is already perfect and the energy is flowing around you. You are a source of energy and electromagnetism, and there's energy around you, and you're just returning to that, letting go and just lingering in that feeling of clarity and peace, returning to the light throughout the day. Disengage and just linger in that feeling of clarity, bliss, flow. And you'll know that you're not in that flow if you're talking to yourself or thinking or looking at things or planning, or that's not the flow. You want to disengage from all of that and just linger, feel this beautiful, expansive feeling in you, outside of you, and just allow yourself to immerse in that. So that's where we left off last week. But this is a great book of enlightenment. If this is your first session here, I know one or two of you, I don't think you've been to the past sessions. This is an amazing book, The Secret of the Golden Flower. There's a 300-year period in Chinese history called the Tang Dynasty, and it goes from about 600 AD to 900 AD. This is when China truly flourished intellectually, philosophically, scientifically, mathematically, navigation-wise, medicine-wise. This is when all of the knowledge of China truly flourished, the first great time of the Chinese Empire. And in this 300-year period, they honor to this day, China still honors what they call the eight immortals. These are the eight enlightened Taoist masters. In China, they didn't use the word enlightened or enlightenment. They used the word immortality. And so these eight enlightened Chinese masters are called the eight immortals. And they're not all men. Some of them are women. And the leader of the eight immortals was the highest Taoist master, the name of Lu Dongbin. And he would just teach his students. Students would show up and he would just start teaching them. One day, his students started to write down all the things that he said, and then they would give him back his notes. He looked at his notes, spent a couple of weeks, and came up with this book, The Secret of the Golden Flower, that walks his students through this process of reversing the light, circulating the light, and then returning to the light throughout the day, trying to maintain this awareness, this energetic light feeling, this feeling of light awareness or light consciousness throughout the day, even in the midst of conditions. Unlike other Enlightenment teachings of the time, which would tell you to leave society, to go away, go live on a mountain, go to a monastery, because your mind is so fragile it can't be disturbed. He said the opposite. Don't think that this is done in isolation. This is done as a family person, as a business person, as regular people that we are in this world. We have the ability to return to the light throughout the day. And over a long period of time, we begin to become lighter, clearer, more light consciousness. He uses 100 days. He says, not in one day can this be achieved, but over the course of 100 days with consistent practice, he says, then the enlightened ones in heaven will start to take notice of your work. But let's continue because there's more, because he gets into some really subtle teachings that we're going to talk about today. I got to find the right page here. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Here we go. So he talks, first of all, any thoughts, comments? Actually, if anyone has been doing this, let me, before we jump in, if anyone, has anyone been working on this meditation? Has anyone been working on it? Any experiences, any questions about this thing? Because this is our third session, so we're kind of fast forwarding through the first two. So any thoughts, questions? I can only handle one at a time. So you guys have to slow down. All right. Ready to push on? All right, we'll push on. Now, in this short book, in this Secret of the Golden Flower, written 1,200 years ago, it's only about 30 pages. You can read it in one sitting. He talks about the heavenly heart. All right, we're gonna try to interpret what he was saying. Throughout the text, Lu Dongbing describes two hearts: the heavenly heart, which is the place of heavenly consciousness, lies in the 1 square inch behind the eye. So this is the third eye chakra, as we would understand it today. He calls that the heavenly heart. It's the place of heavenly consciousness. And then he also talks about the fleshly heart, which is our physical heart, covered by the wings of the lungs. So we've got the heart surrounded by the lungs. So there's the fleshly heart and the heavenly heart. And this is what he talks about. Now, this is where it diverges based on other things that you may have studied, based on other things that I've studied and I'm actually teaching, which kind of diverge from this a little bit, where other traditions, other teachings emphasize the heart chakra as the center, of the light, the place where the light resides and circulates and flows and shines, the heart chakra being that place. He says it is the third eye chakra where the light, which he calls the throne, so to speak, of the light consciousness. This is where the king sits on his throne. This is where the light sits on this throne that you've prepared. So this is different. So I just want you to, we're just going to go through what he talks about, and it's okay that it's different. Just think about it. Think about the other ways you want to think about it, and it's perfectly okay, whatever you want to do in your own mind, in your own practice. Don't worry about it. You don't have to be exactly. See, this is the thing. You can study this for the rest of your life. You could be a Taoist and study this and the Tao and all these things for the next 20 years. But the point is, you don't have to study this for 25 years. You can start to experiencing these things within a matter of a few weeks. All right. So he said the two hearts work together to govern your affairs. When men are set free from the womb, meaning when you are born, and we've talked about this, is another thing we talked about in past sessions, the idea of the light during birth entering into the physical domain, and it splits into two. It splits into energy and consciousness. So the light, which is you, when you become a physical being, splits into two. You don't see your light, you don't experience your light, but you experience energy and consciousness. Those two things together are what come from the light. When you have a near-death experience and you rise up, a light rises up, the energy and the consciousness merge back together. You get your sense of being of light, and then you rise into the fourth and the fifth dimension and do whatever you're going to do in the fourth and fifth dimension without the physical body. So what he's saying is the opposite. When you are born, the light enters into the physical body and it splits into two: a heavenly heart here and a fleshly heart. But he doesn't really mean here and here, but you'll have to see what I mean. He says the celestial spirit dwells in the square inch between the eyes, the heavenly heart, but the conscious spirit dwells below in the heart. The lower fleshly heart is covered by the wings of the lungs, but the heavenly heart is in the head. Another translation. Once the nature of unified awareness, your light, has fallen into the chamber of the creative, i.e., at birth, it divides into higher and lower souls. The higher soul is in the celestial mind, and the energy is light and clear. The lower soul has energy that is dense and opaque and sticks to the ordinary mind. Now, when we use the word soul, we have to understand this is a translation from Chinese. It doesn't mean anything you might think it means, nor am I an expert in telling you of the, like the 8 different types of soul categories that there are in China. But just know that there is a higher self and a lower self, a dense, fleshly, unconscious self, and a higher aware self. We don't use our celestial consciousness, so we make it through our day with subconscious patterns and emotions ruled by our lower conscious spirit. The lower heart, meaning our lower consciousness, moves like a strong, powerful commander who despises the heavenly heart because of his weakness. And this lower heart, meaning our subconscious self, our lower self, has seized for himself the leadership of the affairs of state. But when the primordial castle, this is why this book is very hard to read, but when the primordial castle, the higher consciousness, can be fortified and defended, then it is as if a strong and wise ruler sat upon the throne. When we connect and fortify our light essence, it takes command of our whole being. Turning the light around is a means of refining the higher soul. Turning the light around, circulating the light, what we've been doing, is a means of refining the higher soul, which is a means of preserving the spirit, which is a means of controlling the lower soul, which is a means of interrupting lower consciousness. And if you don't interrupt this lower consciousness, not only will it seize the affairs of state, take control of your whole life, but it will never evolve. Your life stream will never evolve. The lower soul, I'm just going to read through here. The lower soul is dim. The lower soul is dim. It is the substance of consciousness. If consciousness is not interrupted, then transformation and transmutation of the lower soul go on endlessly from lifetime to lifetime, generation to generation. If your lower consciousness is never interrupted, you just keep going on without making any real improvements in your life, and you go on from lifetime to lifetime without any, generation to generation. Turning the light around is a means of refining the higher soul, which is a means of controlling the lower soul, which is a means of interrupting lower consciousness. And in this case, eliminating countless reincarnations. So the goal, is just a very simple work that we did for the first 5 minutes, reversing the light, circulating the light, and becoming aware of the light, even with our eyes open, returning to that light. This is refining the higher soul and transmuting the lower soul. And as it says here, the true purpose of these teachings is to reveal and connect with your higher soul. The work on the circulation of the light, the work on the circulation of the light, the circulation that we've been doing, the work on the circulation of the light depends entirely on the backward flowing movement, reversing the awareness. There's no such thing as circulating the light while you're thinking and watching other things in your mind. You're not really circulating the light. So the work of circulating the light depends entirely on you reversing your awareness and working on the circulation from within, so that the thoughts are gathered together at the place of heavenly consciousness, the heavenly heart. And that's the key to the practice, gathering our thoughts together, drawing our attention to the heavenly heart, and creating a welcoming space for our celestial spirit, our light essence, our higher soul. But when we look inside our heavenly heart, the space between our eyes, we don't see the light. We don't see anything. So where is the celestial spirit? All right. All right. It is best indeed, this is all these things in italics are direct quotes from Lu Dongbing. It is best indeed if the light has already fortified itself in a spirit body and its life force gradually has penetrated the instincts and movements. So we want to fortify this higher consciousness, and we want that to penetrate our instincts and movements. Very similar to other things that we've been talking about, where we use our higher self, we weave the knowledge that we gain from our higher self into our third dimensional actions and activities. So we weave this higher awareness into our lower consciousness. And the more we can weave in, the higher we raise ourselves. Now, here's the secret, okay? And I apologize because my mouse isn't dragging like that, which it normally does. At any moment, you can find your light essence and bring this orb of light back into your field of attention. Your light consciousness doesn't sit in one place. It's flitting around, and when you look for it, it remains hidden. So you must find the light and bring it back to its rightful place in the heavenly heart. And once seated there, everything instantly comes to order, and all random, unwanted thoughts immediately stop. The ruler is back on the throne, and everything feels natural, whole, and complete. The eyes are the key, according to this teaching. Turn your eyes inward to the heavenly heart and protect the ruler, right? We'll do, and then we'll do a little bit of a thought exercise meditation. The two eyes, returning inward, start the light circulating. Now, this is different than the central channel circulation. This is a circulation within the third eye. The two eyes start the light circulating like two ministers at the right and the left who support the ruler with all their might. When the ruler in the center is thus in order, all those rebellious heroes will present themselves with lances reversed, ready to take orders. So he's using the analogy of the light consciousness is the ruler, the master. And as long as he's not there, the lower army, the lower forces just take control and say he's not even here. We can do whatever we want. And when the master is placed on the throne, when the ruler is rightly seated on the throne, all the lower forces present themselves with lances reversed, ready to take orders. So a kind of like a military thing. All the people that have been just running the country without any direction, all of a sudden now the ruler is in charge, and all of these people will stay. So I want you to do this. Let's do this meditation or this thought exercise. First of all, thoughts, questions, comments? This practice is well worth it because if you can just learn, just even forgetting any advanced things, just circulating the light up and down the central channel, activating the chakras, waking up, you're activating very powerful unseen forces that you're not aware of. But these are the very sources of the energy that's flowing through your system. And as this energy and light flows, that just replace all of that with the word health. That's your energetic health. It's the energy flow that creates health in your body. When there are obstructions in this energy flow, that's what creates pain, blockages, over the long term, diseases, and all kinds of things, weaknesses in your organs, etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow these instructions, and we're going to imagine that the light, that there's a throne that's sitting there empty, and we are going to bring the light back to sit on its throne and watch how that brings everything into alignment. Almost like you're a chiropractor. If you can just get this top light in alignment to just sit still for a second, everything else in the energy and the light system lines up. So what we're going to do again, the two eyes are like ministers sitting on either side of the ruler. And you're going to reverse your awareness, reverse the light back directly into the third eye, and you're going to wait there until the ruler, the light, takes its place, and you're just going to sit there quietly and observe how that light, how you can nourish that light, pay attention to that light in your third eye, and just allow that light to just be the ruler, to sit on the throne, and to bring all the rest of your light body into alignment. So, with your eyes closed, if you feel yourself projecting outward, you want to reverse the light inward. In this case, we're going to reverse the light right into the middle of the head, into the third eye chakra. And we're going to just wait there until the light arrives, takes its place on the throne, so to speak. And just allow that light to circulate in the third eye. No effort, no trying, no other thoughts. Just allow the light to reverse from your eyes into the middle of your head and just observe what happens until that light finds its place. If you lose your concentration, that's a good sign because you're aware that you've lost your concentration. Pull it back and pull it right back into the third eye, the seat of the throne, and let the light find its own spot. Let the light come to rest there and circulate the light. And once that light appears stably in your third eye, now let's continue to circulate that light from the lower root through the central channel, back to the third eye, through the crown. And just now the light is more real. I want you to see it and circulate that. 3 or 4 breaths like that. And once you, for those of you, if you're able to find it and hold on to it, notice exactly what he's talking about. All the other lower subconscious forces just stop because now the master has appeared, the king has appeared, and now they all pay attention to him or her. Now you're all advanced light circulators. Because he's giving you specific things to focus on, think about, and actually look for in your own inner sight, to play with this light, to find it, to see that if you don't pay attention to it, it's just flying all around. You can actually force it to sit where you want it, and then move that light. Once you get it stable, move that light up and down the central channel, and it becomes more and more real, more and more kinesthetic. You can feel it. You can feel it tickling through the central channel as it rises and falls. And imagine the eyes are like ministers protecting that light, holding it there. Now, whatever you saw, whatever you experienced, darkness, it doesn't matter. You're building your inner sight and you are activating, actually working with unseen forces that are flowing the light, releasing your energy, clearing obstructions. Very, very, very healthy what we're doing here. To just push on here. The heavenly heart, which is what we were talking about, the heavenly heart and the fleshly heart. The heavenly heart is like the dwelling place. The light is the master. Therefore, when the light circulates, the powers of the whole body arrange themselves before its throne, just as when a holy king has taken possession of the capital and has laid down the fundamental rules of order. All the states approach with tribute. The goal, of course, is not only to feel what it's like to place the light in the heavenly heart, but to dwell or linger in that state, as we just did, of higher awareness for as long as possible, not only with eyes closed in meditation, but with eyes open and drawn backward to the light in the midst of daily conditions. Make this your own. If you are struggling to create and feel these meditative experiences, remember the words of the Master. Not in one day can this be achieved. One must not try to leave out the steps between, but must penetrate directly to the heart of the matter. The further the work advances, the more can the golden flower bloom. The golden flower is that light consciousness, that light that inhabits your being. That is the golden flower. And the purpose of these exercises is to wake that light consciousness up, allow it to flow and allow it to flourish and begin to become more and more manifest. The experiences will come in their own way, in their own time. Keep focusing on the meditations and exercises, keep up the effort, and enjoy any results. Noticing even the smallest result can be cause for celebration, the signposts on the journey. Now, one more, we're going to push on to the next teaching. This is really pretty amazing. And there's just every time you just go deeper and deeper, and you can just get lost in this, as I obviously am lost in this, and sharing it with you. So I'm going to talk about the next thing is the secret connection between the breath and the heavenly heart. The secret connection between the breath and the heavenly heart. He says, while sitting, one must therefore always keep the heart quiet and the power concentrated. How can the heart be made quiet? By breathing. If the heart is light, then the breathing is light. If the heart is light, then the breathing is light, for every movement of the heart affects breath energy. If the breathing is light, the heart is light, for every movement of breath energy affects the heart. In order to steady the heart, one begins by taking care of the breath. The heart, meaning this throne, this point of light in your third eye, cannot be influenced directly. Therefore, the breath is used as a handle to calm the heart. Breath is a tool that you can use to lighten the heart, and a light heart will ease the breath. Turning the light around, I'll read this one too. Movement here refers to making something move by pulling its strings, and is only another name for control. If one can cause movement if one can cause movement by vigorous thought, then one may also be able to cause stillness by pure tranquility. The sages who observed how the heart and breath energy are connected set up this method in order to benefit later generations. The sages who observed how the heart and breath energy are connected set up this method in order to benefit later generations. That'd be us. Turning the light around, turning your awareness within, is the secret of dissolving darkness, meaning dissolving your lower consciousness. There is no other exercise, only the secret of turning the light around. The light itself is the creative. All methods take their source in quietness. This marvelous magic cannot be fathomed. All changes of spiritual consciousness depend on the heart. First, let's clear up one important point. The heart that Master Lu Dongbing is referring to is not the physical lower fleshly heart, but the heavenly heart, the place of heavenly consciousness that lies in the 1 square inch behind the eyes. Trying to just, as I say, share his teachings as best I can. The heart easily runs away. The heart, in other words, the light, easily flies away. So it's necessary to gather it together by means of breathing power. Breathing power easily becomes coarse. Therefore, it has to be refined by the heart. So you have to go back and forth between the light causing the breath to be light and easy, and the breath being light and easy, causing the light to maintain its presence. So let's work on this light breathing and see how when we reverse the light and we circulate this light in the heavenly heart, in the third eye, how that also causes our breathing to be light. But we can also use light breathing as a way to find that light and put that light where it belongs. So let's just meditate on that for 2 or 3 minutes. I want you to notice when you're truly focused, how your breathing moves away from your awareness and is nice and gentle and light. And also how you can, if you're breathing irregularly, how if you calm your breath, it also helps the light to return to where it's supposed to be. And for the purposes of the next few minutes, just imagine a light circulating in your third eye. When you get it just right, your awareness is in, you're focusing on the throne. The light appears because you're calm and focused here. The light appears, and the more the light appears, the more calm the rest of your body is, the more calm your breathing just all of a sudden becomes calm. So it's all connected. The breath, the light, your focus and attention. And once the light appears there and you can hold it there, all the other lower consciousness is being dissolved. As they say, bows to the emperor, reverses their lances. All the states all the lower states give their tribute to the king. And I want you to realize how fortunate we are. This is the highest Taoist master, and he's giving us his personal meditation routine. You are learning exactly what his students learned. You also understand that every one of his students who's listening to this is experiencing it slightly different, is at a different place, but he is giving his specific meditation instructions, which is why I just love this. I've been reading this book for 25 years and can't get enough of it. In order to steady the heart, one begins by taking care of the breath. The heart cannot be influenced directly. Therefore, the breath is used as a handle to calm the heart. And it works the other way too. When you gather the light, that is a tool that automatically calms the breath. Since heart and breath are mutually dependent, Since heart and breath are mutually dependent, the circulation of the light must be united with the rhythm of breathing. This is why when we circulate the light, so if you imagine the light at the lower root chakra, the breath comes in, the circulation of the light must be tied to the breath. A state of higher consciousness is a state where your breathing is controlled, relaxed, soft, and easy. A state of lower consciousness is when your breathing is irregular. You're not aware of what you're doing. You're in lower consciousness. Tilly says the ultimate teaching, the heart alone must be conscious of the flowing in and out of the breath. And we're going to push on to one more concept today. Now that we have our practice in place, we get to the highest secret of this beautifully enlightened teaching. The highest secret. And here it is. The light is not in the body alone, nor is it only outside the body. Mountains and rivers and the great earth, all that is this light. Everything, mountains, rivers, the great earth, all that is this light. Therefore, the light, is not only within your body. All the operations of intelligence, knowledge, and wisdom are also this light. All things and all movements are likewise this light. The light flower of heaven and earth fills all the thousand spaces, but also the light flower of the individual body passes through heaven and covers the earth. Therefore, as soon as the light is circulating, heaven and earth, mountains and rivers are all circulating within you at the same time. As soon as the light is circulating, heaven and earth, mountains and rivers are all circulating within you at the same time. In other words, inviting the light to circulate within you is the same as inviting the light of the entire universe into your being. So as you're circulating this light, this is not just your light. This is the light of the universe that is circulating within you, and your light covers the universe, all one and the same thing. This light that you're circulating is not just a personal light. It is the light of the universe. Turning the light around is not turning around the light of one body, but turning around the very energy of creation. That's his words, not mine. Turning the light around is not turning around the light of one body, but turning around the very energy of creation. Let's keep doing that. Let's keep circulating that light, or focusing on the light circulating in the third eye, however you want to do it. And understand that that is not the light of your body. That is the very light of creation, the light of the universe that you are moving around and manipulating inside your own body. You're using the light of the universe to clear your own energy channels. If you're doing this properly, when you're aware of the light, the breath is soft and gentle. If you lose the light, get back to a soft and gentle breath, and that will activate the light. The breath and the light are connected. To continue, once the practice is started, press on from the shallow to the deep, from the obvious to the profound. The goal must be to reach the vastness of heaven and the depths of the sea, so that all methods seem quite easy and natural. Only then have we mastered it. The beauties of the highest heavens and the marvels of the sublimest realms are all within the heavenly heart. This is where the perfectly open and aware spirit concentrates. As you're practicing these exercises of circulation, you are activating very powerful unseen forces. Your daily practice invites these powerful forces. You're like priming a pump. And when the time is right, these forces begin to flow through your body. And you'll start to feel it differently. If you do this just once now, it's a beautiful feeling, very relaxing, but this is meant to be done over 100 days, every day, really for the rest of your life. And this circulation, this attention, this awareness, reversing the light, circulating the light in your third eye, circulating that light through the central channel, getting control of your breathing. This is a long-term practice. And when the time is right, the forces of light, the forces of energy begin to flow through your own body. With a receptive mind, we will push on. If one keeps up this practice, this is from Lu Dongbin to his students, if one keeps up this practice for a long time, there develops quite naturally, in addition to the body, another spirit body. The brilliancy of the light gradually crystallizes. This crystallized spirit is formed beyond the 9 heavens. Now, the 9 heavens refer to the 9 stages of reincarnation, which I will talk about another time. But understand that the brilliancy of the light gradually crystallizes, not today, but over a period of time. If you keep doing this, the brilliancy of the light gradually crystallizes. You may feel it today. This crystallized spirit is formed beyond the 9 heavens, beyond your life stream. This is now a permanent aspect of you. As you continue to use your conscious powers to activate the light within, a circulation of forces begins to take hold in your being. You become released from external things. You still recognize things in the outer world, but you don't desire them. Bursting with inner light and energy, the illusion of the outer world is robbed of its power, replaced instead by a higher awareness of light nature, the golden flower, literally circulating within your very being. This light exists in us, resides within our bodies, and it represents, it actually is the immortal aspect of our being. While our bodies are subject to the limitations of time and space, the golden flower is immortal, the light which returns to itself through the creative with each new life. When the light is made to move in a circle, all the powers of heaven and earth, of the light and the dark, are crystallized. When the light is made to move in a circle, all the powers of heaven and earth, all the powers of the light and the dark are crystallized. When the light is circulated, the energies of heaven and earth all congeal. The light begins to crystallize and take form within you. There are very many alchemical teachings, says Lu Dongbing. He's aware of many, many other teachings, but all of them make use of effort to arrive at effortlessness. They are not teachings of total transcendence and direct penetration. The doctrine I transmit to you directly involves working with essence and therefore does not fall into a secondary method. It is the true essence of radiance. And once you feel this sense of energetic radiance emerge and start to take form within you, it becomes its own motivation to keep practicing. You don't want to go back to low energy. So you're naturally going to want to keep circulating the light. You're going to want to keep breathing with intention. And once this energetic vibration becomes strong, you can feel your entire energy system tingling and flowing throughout your body. May take a few weeks or a few months to manifest for you, but when you feel it, you know that it's real. And this is your clearest indication that you have connected with and awakened your inner essence on this path of inner radiance. They didn't use the word enlightenment, they used the word inner radiance. Taking hold of this light within you and allowing it to transcend your lower consciousness, your lower fleshly experiences. Once you experience this over several days and weeks, it's self-sustaining. You want to continue to circulate the light. You want to get healthier. You want more and more energetic flow because there's no end to it. It just keeps flowing and you get healthier and healthier. Personally for me, I've lost 55 pounds, 60 pounds almost. And I would say the majority of the reason I lost the weight, well, I ate a lot less food. That helps. But it's this energy flowing, this light flowing, getting the whole system lit up, flowing, easy and soft, natural, getting rid of all obstructions. That's all we're doing. So circulating the light up and down the central channel, reversing the light, seeing the crown, the light, say right where it's supposed to be on the throne, keeping it there, playing with it, moving it around. This is health, light consciousness. Eventually, this light body begins to congeal, begins to crystallize, and become an awareness of its own that is above your conscious awareness. And when you become firmly anchored in that higher light consciousness over a longer period of time, this is what the Chinese referred to, not as enlightenment, but immortality. And I just think this book is just staggeringly important because you're literally learning from the very highest Taoist master. This is not a book about Taoism. You're not going to come in here and take notes and learn what Taoism is. It's not talking about Taoism. It's talking about a direct method to work directly with your essence, not to think about things. What's an example of an indirect method? An indirect method would be, for example, studying the sutras. And by studying the sutras, it puts you in a state of mind that gets you into this flow. That's an indirect method. You had to look at the sutras to get you in. Nothing wrong with that. It's a complementary method. This is a direct method of working directly with your essence. And the secret over the next 100 days is to continue to become aware of this, more and more aware of this, give this more and more attention throughout the day. Get this energy flowing, get this feeling of the light beginning to crystallize and flow and become a real thing, and then start to become aware of it. Become aware of your breathing so that you become aware of the light, become aware of the light so you can start to control your breathing. Whatever works, just let go of everything, stop projecting, stop thinking about everything, and returning to this state of light consciousness throughout the day. Daily meditation on this, morning and night, and then being aware of it throughout the day. And this is why I've been studying this book forever. And it was only about a year and a half ago that it all started to kind of make sense to me. I sent you a link for the actual translation. And when you read the whole translation, you could read it. It only takes, I don't know, 30 minutes to read the whole thing. When you read it like a book from the beginning to end, like it's a story, it doesn't make any sense. You have to kind of slow down, grab a piece of it, meditate on this one piece for a little bit. Ah, okay, now he says to do this next, then do this next. So that's what I've tried to do for you, is to try to turn whatever he said into sequential steps that you can follow. There we have it. That's what I wanted to share with you today. I'd say we'll do one more session next Sunday, and I think then we will have covered pretty much this entire book. And then, of course, it's on us to maintain this flow, maintain this practice in our own lives. For those who are called to it, I'm called to this particular meditation. And the reason I like this book, and there's other good books, and after this one, Sunday, we're going to keep doing this every Sunday morning for the foreseeable future. And the next thing we're going to talk about is another book called the Spanda Karikis, which is called the verses on pulsation. I'm going to relate that to the seventh dimension, different than this. It's an indirect method. The Spandus Caricus will allow you to experience the pulsation, the seventh dimensional pulsation of source, and I'll teach it that way in the coming weeks. But I do want to explain this one to you as an essential part of your practice, because it's what's going to recondition your light system, your energy system, and get everything flowing. So thoughts, comments? And I know it's hard to do thoughts and comments when you're in a blissful mood, but
Just want to say thank you. It was great. Feel very calm, very peace. I think I even started to fall asleep. Your voice and just having my eyes closed and just kind of connecting. Just feel real, just very calm, very relaxed. So thank you.
I want to just push on you just a little, John.
Sure.
You have told me in the past that you struggle with this inner sight, with seeing anything. What are you feeling? Flowing the light, circulating the light, the eyes like two ministers, circulating the light inside the third eye. What are your thoughts on that, or your experiences?
The challenge I have is trying to envision focusing on, say, my third eye, which is, I guess like a little bit more up. So I feel like when I'm doing that, I like try to turn my vision around, but when I'm looking up, I feel like I have a tendency to project out again, because it's above me instead. So I'm almost trying to think of like focusing like in between my eyes, like inner, instead of like just level instead of up above, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um,
there's more instructions, and I'm going to put it in the book, but probably not talk about it in next week's session. But he talks about meditating with your eyes mostly closed,
mhm.
but still a little bit open, and said looking at the tip of your nose. And he goes through this whole thing in this book about how this looking at the tip of your nose has been misunderstood by Buddhists and for 1,000 years. Let me explain to you how it really works, he says. The tip of the nose is like a plumb line, and you're looking from the tip of the nose back up into the third eye. So the third eye can be found by looking your eyes down and then
Mm.
reversing along that plumb line back up to the center of your head. So I say this
Okay.
only because you just mentioned it. Um, but he goes
Yeah, I'll
on and
try
on and
that.
on about the tip of the nose and your eyes open, and you're not looking at the tip of your nose out. You're looking at the tip of your nose just to get the direction of your eyeballs. And then if you reverse your eyeballs, you're reversing them into the right spot.
Excellent. I'll definitely try that.
Yeah. And I also recommend to everybody to read the translation. I gave you the link. Just
Okay.
read the whole translation yourself and just immerse yourself in that. And I mean this every time I look at that translation, that book, I discover another thing that I hadn't really thought about. There you go, Tim. This is and I want to differentiate between me. This is not me. I'm I'm reading and interpreting backwards for you, so in words that we can better understand what Lu Dong Bing. I literally feel like when I read this book, like I'm sitting cross-legged and I'm surrounded by a bunch of other like way more advanced Taoists than me who understand way more than me, listening to this guy 10 feet away from me explain how he does it. And that's the beauty of this book. That's why I really want to preserve this book, and I'm writing my own commentary about it so that it becomes something that's accessible and practical to us. And as I write this book, I'm also going to do the same thing I did with Meditation for Life. I'm going to include QR codes so that it's not just verbally describing the meditation, but doing the meditation, circulating the light, allowing the light to circulate in the third eye, on the crown, like it's on its throne. I just think the way he describes things is just so you can grab it. The light sits on the throne, and as soon as the light sits on the throne, all the other lower rulers just stop and they just look back to the master and they say, "Yep, you're in charge now." And as soon as the light leaves, the other people, go on about their day. Thoughts, more. I want to help you integrate. I think speaking about it helps you integrate this into your not only your lifestyle, but your thinking.
That tip will be very helpful. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to trying it. To I have a tendency to like I don't know if it's your voice. I don't know if it's because I close my eyes. I love the QR code where I can listen and follow along. And I still feel like it's still good even if I fall asleep because I'm in a subconscious like relaxed state, so I could just really get go within. That I guess I don't really need to be necessarily awake, but so that's why I really like the following the meditation because I can't tell you how frustrated I was so many times trying to meditate on my own, like trying to not think, not think, not. It was just frustrating, but this has been very helpful for me to even just sit still, which has been a challenge in itself to not like squirrel around and go run and grab a hose and go water my plants or got to go do some, I mean, it's just,
Yeah, got to answer and respond to an email or
yep,
call my kids back or it's 8 billion.
yeah,
Yeah, that's not meditating. And what you're talking about, John, just for others, is this book
yeah.
here, Meditation for Life. And the point is that in it's a journal, so you're supposed to, document your experiences, but there's a QR code so you can actually physically listen to the meditation. And in this book, there are 4 guided meditations. And one of them, meditation number 3 in that book, is this light circulation, where I adapted and simplified it.
Is that the clearing space one?
No, the
No.
chakra
Oh,
activation through the
okay.
central channel.
Okay.
Can anyone help me? Like, I need help getting this book from 90% finished to I got to get it across the finish line. So if anyone wants to help me with that, that's really just sharing this with you helps me clarify my thoughts and helps me structure things a little bit and helps me when I go back, look at the book, what I like and don't like. But anyone who wants to get deeper into help me finish this book, I'd much appreciate it. Natalia, go ahead.
Right. Yeah. I really appreciate the tip on having the eyes partly closed looking down at the nose because I read that part in the book and it didn't make sense to me with wide open eyes looking down at the nose, but having them almost slightly closed, focusing there and then bringing it back to focusing in this area. As soon as I closed my eyes, I just saw just light just front and center and it was just immediate. So that was very helpful to be able to kind of access the inner light.
Yeah, he talks about using not staring at the tip of your nose or anything beyond, but using that angle
Mhm.
as a plumb line to go backwards.
Yeah.
And when your eyes are down, looking at the tip of your nose, then if you close your eyes, you can go backwards to the right spot.
Yeah, that was very helpful.
Yeah. I just want to share with you what he actually said about that, because he spends a lot of time talking about that.
Yeah, it was very helpful to just to do that, but also to just relax into it and to not force vision there, just like relax the body, kind of bring attention with eyes partly closed to the tip of the nose, just barely. And then just as I closed my eyes, just brought my attention right back here. And that really, really worked for me.
Yeah, and this is what we're talking about. I'm just going to share my screen here so you can see what we're talking about. He says the founders of Buddhism and Taoism have taught that one should look at the end of one's nose. Now he's going back to the original. He's saying, but they didn't mean that one should, in other words, he knows what the original people meant. He said they didn't mean that you should look at the end of the nose. That's not where your attention should be. He's telling his students that the original Taoist teaching and the original Buddhist teachings have been corrupted, and the meaning one should look at the end of one's nose has been lost, and he's going to explain what the original teaching is. What is really meant by this? The expression end of the nose is very cleverly chosen. The nose must serve as a guiding line. If one is not guided by the nose, either one opens the eyes too wide and looks into the distance so that the nose is not seen, or the lids shut too much so that the eyes close. He continues, wherever the eye looks, the heart is also directed. But when the eyes are open too wide, one makes the mistake of directing them outward, whereby one is easily distracted. If they're closed too much, one makes the mistake of letting them turn inward, whereby one easily sinks into a dreamy reverie. Only when the eyelids are sunk properly halfway is the end of the nose seen in just the right way. Therefore, it is taken as a guiding line. Looking at the nose serves as only the beginning of the inner concentration, so that the eyes are brought into the right direction for looking and then are held to the guideline. After that, one can let it be. That's the way a mason hangs up a plumb line. As soon as he's hung it up, he guides his work by it without continuously bothering himself to look at the plumb line. This is from him. Like these are his, he goes into great detail and he goes on and on and on in all of this. This is to me one of the greatest books of enlightenment that exists. I mean, I'm not going to discount. There are some other great books and some other great teachings, but this one, for so many different reasons, literally sitting at the feet of one of the greatest masters. And this book also has no doubt as to who wrote it. There's no doubt who wrote this. I said in the first section, I'll say it again. This book was written in 825 AD, so it comes from prior wisdom from his teachers and what his teachers taught them. And so this is his now technique. And his students, this book is written, they would press wood into really thin sheets, thin wooden sheets. And this book was written on this pressed wood. It was written on this pressed wood, and then these pages were bound together. So it was like a wooden book. And this wooden book was copied many, many, many times throughout history. And in 1688, when the first printing press in China, when the first printing, when China started printing, which was the first people to learn how to do that, this is one of the books that they printed in 1688. And then in 1920, the government of China authorized a new translation of thousands of works, and this was one of the original works that was translated from these wooden things, from these wooden books, and also from the 1688 version. And they translated it in 1920, or they didn't translate it, they preserved it in an encyclopedia with many other documents, and they preserved it. And then in 1926, a German author, this guy I told you about, Wilhelm, who'd been studying with a Taoist teacher in China for about 25 years, was given a copy, was given one of these books, and he stayed with it for months and translated it from Chinese into German. And then in 1929, the German was translated into English. And that's what we get. The later translation in English, 1991, uses the actual encyclopedia, the Chinese encyclopedia, and that includes 5 additional chapters, which weren't part of the original teachings, but we still have, now we can access them in English. So we have the original teachings in one translation, and then the original plus 5 more chapters in the second translation. You could really spend a lifetime studying this and going deeper and deeper. But the real goal is what we did today, the meditations, the actual doing it. And so that's why I want to bring this book out, so you don't have to go try to figure out, what does he mean when the white tiger rises into the cloud and becomes the lotus flower of the night? What does all that mean? Forget all that. Just focus on these very simple directions. Reverse the light, circulate the light, return to the light throughout the day, and then learn how to reverse the awareness and bring the light back to where it belongs. And from there, you can circulate it and play with it. You can rise it and fall it through the central channel. And just eventually, over time, the more you do this, the more this light body becomes real. It begins to actually take on a form of its own. It crystallizes. And those are the experience, fascinating stuff. And it doesn't
What
discount it.
aspect,
Oh, go ahead, Emily.
what aspects of this book are you struggling to complete? Is there something specific we could think about or read into that would help you get this out?
I really want, I feel like I need to just go through it chapter by chapter and see if it's in the
Okay.
right order. Um,
Okay.
if I'm explaining things properly or needs more explanation, or I explain, duplicate. Like to me, it's really easy for me to get 80% to the finish line, and the last 20%, because I'm ADD, is very hard for me to finish. Like I can get very intense for a period of weeks and months, and really pound out a lot of great content. Then finishing it is always my challenge.
Right. Because I do think this is a very important practical information. There's so much on, the concept of enlightenment that is all about thinking and the mind. And I think that's, um, the mind is chaotic. That's a horrible approach. But it's a very Western, very masculine approach. Um, so I think your book is important. So if, yeah, I will go through and proof what I have this week and make sure those steps make sense. Um, and then, yes, let's help you get that out, because I think this is a really, really important technique. I know for me, just having some experience with Tai Chi, I've been circulating light in the lower dantian, uh, off and on for years, and just that has helped. And that isn't even coming close to this. So, yeah. Um, and if you think of something else that'll help you, let us know.
Yeah, I
Something
want
practical.
to just making sure that if it's clear, makes sense. Oh, Alan, you're talking all this way before you even get to say anything. Maybe you can shorten the introduction or put some of this stuff at the end or in the middle. That's where I just want to finish I guess I need an editor, right?
Okay.
That's really what it boils down to. But not just an editor who's actually doing the work and seeing if these words are helping you do the work, or they're getting in the way, or what would make it easier. What can we, what, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you have a test group, so that's great.
Thank you so
right?
much. Well, Emily is all good on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another version of this book. I've so far created parts 1 and 2. I'm going to do all the way up to page 64. I'm going to create a version, and I'm going to, for those who want it, just let me know on the chat or in a private message that you want that, and you'll look at it. Because when you look at it, I'll send you the whole thing, Emily. I'll
Okay.
do the whole thing. I'll just do the whole book, because at the end, there's just a lot of junk thrown in there just in case I needed it. You know, like I threw a lot of stuff in there, and I just need to know, should that be brought up? Should the book be shorter, longer? More, anyway, I need an editor is what it boils down to. I need someone to like help me focus on it, because this is, Emily, to repeat your words, I believe this is one of the most important books written. I also believe there are thousands of other books that are lost to time that we just don't have anymore, that we'll never
Mhm.
know about, that are equally as important. But this one, because of the author, because of the clarity of its authenticity all the way through to now, to what we're reading now ourselves, it makes it a very, very special and important book. So
Well, I'm not a professional editor, but I can definitely test it out and give you some feedback, and
I appreciate
hopefully
that.
we'll help you get this out there.
Thank you so much, Emily. And anyone else who
Mhm.
wants to read the whole thing, just let me know in the chat, and I'll share it with you, and I'll look forward to your thoughts and feedback.
Yeah, I'd love to read it too, Alan.
Perfect. All right. All right. Awesome. I will see you guys tonight at 9 p.m. Those of you that are paid members in the collective, we're actually going to, there are two branches in the collective. The one what we're talking about today is personal development. And that involves a lot of different things, focusing on your health, your deep breathing, your stretching, your energy flow, like we're doing now, your spiritual practice, your meditation, just being a kinder, better, more aware, self-aware person. So long, John. Appreciate you. That's the personal aspect of it. Tonight at 9, we're going to talk about the collective and what we're going to be doing together as a collective and what our vision is. And we're going to be talking about, it's important to understand that the collective is a 6th dimensional organization. So we're going to be rising to the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th dimension. And then we're going to talk about the collective as it sits in the 6th dimension, and what we will be able to do as a small group of people to get the ball rolling, to get the collective to be actually doing things, activities, and what should we be doing as a collective. That's what that meeting tonight is about, more about your contribution as a member of the collective, less about your personal practice, more about your contribution as being part of the collective, and where we can go and what we can do from here. So thank you all. So I'll see some of you, hopefully all of you, tonight at 9. Appreciate you all being here, and thank you so much. And let's keep it going on the chat. And let me know if you want to see that book. I already have Natalia and Emily said they were interested in it, but let me know if anyone else is, and I'll send it to you as well. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Everybody have a great Sunday. Take care.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.